Listen, what if I told you, what if I asked you, what is the biggest problem that we encounter when we're, hey, Steve, this part of the family, Stephen Bocock. Good to see you. You know, one of the biggest challenges that we have when we try to move money using things like World Remit, Remitly, Zoom, what would be the problem with those? Can anybody tell me? What's the problem with that? If you frequently move money using these apps, there comes a point when they start to question the origin of the money, the purpose of moving the money. I know it's happened to me. My Zoom account got locked, Remitly locked me out, World Remit locked me out. So these apps are used to make payments, right? To move money from your US account to an account here in DR or to pay for services. You guys know about these apps, right? And these apps generally have that problem. But we use them, or we want to use them, because we want the facility of moving money, at low cost instantly. It's like an instant bank transfer. The problem is that most of these companies have protocols, okay? Or I'm not going to say protocols, I'm going to say they're tied to bureaucracy. But what if I told you there is an app that exists, a cash app that exists to move money from the US to the DR instantly, and there is no limit. And once you register, you're never going to be bothered again. And you can pay bills like your phone bill, electric, and every day more and more Dominican companies are affiliating themselves with this app. What if I told you that the creator of that app is among us? He's an expat. And he created this app, and so many people are using it, including yours truly. I use that app like 5 times a day, 7 days a week. Never had a problem. So imagine being able to have US quality, I would say money, I'm going to say US money moving capabilities. That's a better way to say it. In the DR. By an app created for the DR. That benefits especially US citizens. To explain further the benefits of this app, I'm going to introduce you to its creator, Alexander Fitzhugh. Take the podium. Boy, get up.
When I talk about my app, I talk about doing business, working at the speed of business, not at the speed of banking. Now, I don't have any problem with banking, but as you guys just noticed when we went through, banks have a lot of regulations and things that they have to go through. So for me, creating this app has been a journey because when I was sending money to the Dominican Republic, I ran into some of the same issues where you work with Western Union, Remitly, and other ones, and so all of the different regulations and things, I was like, it's got to be a better way to make this happen. A little bit about myself is that I'm an app developer, so I'm into technology. I sort of cut my chops, if you will, on my first app, which was something similar to like an Uber. I'm the type of person, I'm a lifelong entrepreneur. I've never had like a 9 to 5. Started my first business with my mom when I was 12, and that's just what I know. I see an opportunity and I figure out a way to see if it works for me. So how I came to the Dominican Republic on this particular app. Let me see if I know how to work. This is my first time. Okay, there we go. Oh, it's still there. Okay. All right. So I'm really not gonna read from it. But when I was doing this, I wanted to have the app be an app that changes the way people send money. I wanted it to be quick. I wanted it to be casual, and I wanted people to be wanted it to be convenient. So when we talk about it being quick, when you're sending, and it's not just for businesses, it's when you're sending money to individuals. The main thing that people who are receiving money, they want to be able to receive the money quickly. So what I wanted to do was to make sure that it was quick. Also being casual. In today's environment, most people, they're on WhatsApp, they're chatting, they're on Facebook and all these things. So it's almost like a social thing. I wanted to create an app that felt the same way as sending a text message. Normally if you send money, you have your communication app, and then you have the financial app, and then sometimes you have to leave the house to go and do it in person. And I said, no, I wanted it to be casual. I wanted people to be able to send money the same way they were sending a text message, just in conversation. You need it, it gets there. And then I wanted it to be convenient. And in terms of convenience, in the Dominican Republic, if you're going to some of these places where you're going to get money, it's usually long lines, and a lot of times when it's majority, a lot of women are getting money sent and picking up. It's sort of dangerous in some instances because people are just looking and saying, well, how much are they picking up? How much are they picking up? So I just wanted it to be, to give it that social feel. So when I talk about moving at the speed of business and not at the speed of banking, a lot of you are investors. So imagine yourself going out to a particular property, and as an investor, you see something you like, you say, okay, I want to get that. I want to talk to the person about it. And so, for instance, like some of the real estate brokers here, they have a property, the person wants it, and you say, okay, it's going to be $5,000. Send that $5,000. This is your property. Well, what you have to do then is start the banking process. So if you're sending $5,000 or more, then like they've already said, there's a lot of different regulations. That it's probably going to take between 5 to 7 days for that money to get there. Because, like they said, the bank has to figure out what you're going to do with it, why you want it, tell the other bank internationally, and they say, well, here's how they want to do it. And so by the time all that happens, 5 or 6 days pass by, and your wire transfer finally goes through. And then they have to tell you, I'm sorry, somebody else got it because they had the money here immediately. So the speed of business does not operate at the speed of banking. The speed of banking is banking. The speed of business, you guys are business owners, you're ready to do it. When you want to do it, it gets done. So this app works at the speed of business and not at the speed of banking. So for instance, if you wanted to send 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, it doesn't matter. You can send, there's no limit on what we can send, and I'll tell you about that in just a moment, how we're able to do that. But that money can go instantly to, Maria's looking because she knows she sends it instantly a lot. But that money goes instantly to the bank account. So let me sort of explain, I'm gonna step away from this and just kind of get to it, and like how I'm here. I'm actually one of the only global merchant processors in the Chase system. You all know Chase Bank, which is the 5th largest bank in the world, the largest non-China bank. So what they have authorized me to do is do global merchant transactions on their Stratus platform. This is the same platform that Amazon is on, all of the big companies. I can do unlimited transactions per day at an unlimited amount. Let me give you an example. Amazon, they move $1.29 billion a day. $1.29 billion a day. You guys can look it up right now on your Google. So I'm on the same platform that they're on. The reason I'm on that platform is because, well, My app was just, okay, so when I went to Chase, they told me not to Chase, but when I went to different banks and I said, hey, I have this idea, here's what I want to do. They told me I had a 99.9% chance of failure because, number one, I didn't have millions of dollars to put up. Number two, I didn't have 10 years of banking history. They told me everything I didn't have, but it doesn't matter what someone says I have or not. It's just, this is who I am. And I said, I think I can make it happen. But this is something that you all probably understand is relationship building and kind of doing things and following your spirit, if you will. When I came and was working on the app, a young lady that I met with to work with me as my translator, her lights were turned off because in Eddie Sewer, I think it's here. If you don't pay it that day, your lights get turned off. In the United States, you get warnings and notices and no, but here, when it's due, it's cut off. And so she said to me, it would be great if your app could pay the electric bill. So I was like, yeah, that sounds good. So, and this is how relationship happened. I had invited one of her other friends up to help me from Santiago, and she sold food on the street, and one of her customers happened to work at Eddie Norte, and that particular customer was the head of technology, and so I ended up meeting with him. We hit it off, and about 7 or 8 months later, I got a contract with Eddie Norte to pay the electric bill through Eddie Norte. So when I was able to show Chase Bank that, listen, I have the potential of 3 million customers paying their bills on a monthly basis, they did their banking thing, and they looked at the numbers and said, okay, let's see if we can make this happen. So that's how it happened in terms of building relationships. I just sort of followed my spirit, and it put me into places and to meet certain people that I probably wouldn't have met if I just followed, general, I don't really want to do it. So that's how I got into place with Chase. I'm going to show you guys a little bit later, what I'm able to do, but I'll jump back so I don't want to get too far off. So what I wanted to do was to, again, merge Jubilee with social interaction. I want it to be, I call it the first social fintech app. So if you all know Cash App, Zelle, and all of that, they're all US based. So what I did was I took all of the qualities that I enjoyed in those applications, and I brought it here, but I wanted to do more. Currently, if you do any searches or anything on the internet, and you ask, is Zelle international? Can I tell you no? But that's not true, because I have integrated Zelle into my application. So if you have Zelle, it's all integrated. I've been able to do that. So we've been, doing some things that, they say, well, I don't think you can do it. But let me say this, to make sure we put this out there. Number one, we are a Dominican-based company. We're registered in Dominican Republic. Number two, we are registered as a payment app. And so all of those things are set up. We have our RNC. Yes. Tengo comprobante. Yes, I have it. So definitely we're tax paying. We're connected to the banks here. So all of this is good. We met with a couple of banks here, and they wanted to review my app. And once they reviewed my app, they were like, we have an app, and people would use yours and not ours. And so I was like, but we all can win. And the bank was like, no, we just want to win. So I said, okay, I get it. So it's okay, but they allow, but I'm still connected with the banks here. So just so that people will say, well, what about the anti-money laundering and things like that? And what about, all the things that we heard from the banks? And so this is true. Understand that in order for me to have this ability through Chase. They have vetted me, they vetted my program, they vetted it at the highest level. Understand that any bank account in the United States or Canada, I can do electronic transfers from any bank coming to the United States. That's quite a few banks and quite a few bank accounts. So again, when I say global merchant processor, you have to really understand that any currency in the world, they believe that I and my app should be able to transfer it instantly. Now, I'm going to share something with you. This is live stream. I don't want to give away all the. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to. Okay. I'm just going to do it. So.
Let me tell you, you do what you told me you were going to do. The people in live stream going to kill themselves.
So I'm not going to tell all of it, but let me say this. Here's the kicker. Banking is done so. I mean, it hasn't changed, but technology has. So while you are sending wire transfers, like the gentleman, he's sending a wire transfer. The wire transfer you send from the bank, and I know I'm not going by this, but we may be able to get to some of this. But let me talk to you. The wire transfer goes from the bank does its due diligence, then the bank sends it to the international receiver, and the international receiver sends it to the local bank, and the local bank gets it, and they do all of these checks to figure all this stuff out. Why are they doing that? Why didn't somebody just... We don't send money internationally. We send information internationally. Now listen to me on this. We don't need to send money internationally when we can just send the information and transfer the money locally. I will not say that again. Somebody may pick up on that. So my point is, it's information. In other words, all of the rules and regulations and things that the money has to go through, if I'm transferring money from my Chase Bank to my Bank in America, what regulations does it have to go through? None, because it's all entered. So if I'm sending money from my Dominican bank to your Dominican bank, you with me? Okay, you guys got it, you understand. So, but nobody had come up with that concept. And so, not many people have the ability to do unlimited transfers. Even right now today, a lot of the Dominican banks, if you went to pay your bill, they may say, oh, we're not taking any more payments today. The reason they say that is because they are limited based on, remember another thing, they're limited on the deposits can't outweigh the liabilities. That's how they stay in compliance. The liabilities can outweigh it, right. So in other words, we're only going to give you $100 worth of payments because this is all we have. Now tomorrow we'll have that 100 and then we can do more. I don't have that. I don't have that problem. I don't have that issue. Chase Bank tells me you need to do as much as you can. Literally, this is the God's honest truth. If every company in this country said, we're going to use you as a processor, thank you. That's great. I wouldn't bat an eyelash, because the 5th largest bank in the world said, we got you. So that's why, for me, when I'm able to talk about it and explain it, we'll get to the question. So let me make sure I run through. And this is a frictionless transaction. And frictionless means when you're dealing with someone, like for instance, like right now, Dr. Elena, do you have your Duquesne School Cellular? Okay, so I know Cellular. So my app just simply works like this. This is how I want it to be. I want it to be able to click on the name, no matter where I'm at in the world. I want to be able to send money. Now, I have dollars. It's going to automatically convert to whatever currency the other person has. And let's say if I wanted to send $7,000, do not cash this. Right. So, and then I'm going to go there. So I'm going to send $7,000 to Rafaelina right now. I do this and I hit this button. She just got it. So she heard Jubilee and I heard gracias. So that's how fast that works. So she just got it. You can send that back at any point in time now. Just to be on the safe side. But okay, so that's how fast it works. That's how fast it works. It doesn't matter where you are. And when we talk,
I use it 4 or 5 times a day.
Yes, and you hear it all the time. Yes. So, and so that's it. That's how that works. It's just that fast. And so I want to talk about this part right here is empathy and innovation. One thing that a lot of, and this is not for the banking, this is for the remittance side. One thing that they don't have in the remittance side is when you're sending money to someone, and I'm going to, take it personally. I remember sending money to someone via the Western Union, and I got the name wrong by one letter. I thought it was X Hernandez, and it was X Hernandez. So I got a little wrong, and so what happened was when they when they went to pick the money up, they said, "Oh no, this is spelled wrong." So their solution was, wait for your money to come back, and then that means you got to go from here, and then they got to talk about it, and they got to do this, and then just send another one. But I'm thinking, what if that was my last 100? So by me understanding how important it is when you're sending money to individuals that need it at that particular time, we take the onus off of the sender, and the only thing the sender has to do is do what I just did. The receiver inputs their information, whether it's their banking account, their banking account in the U.S., their banking account here, and then the money just goes directly to that particular person. But then you say, well, what if that person doesn't have a bank account? How can we do it? Well, we thought about that as well. Are you all familiar with sin tarjeta? Sin tarjeta. Without a card. Sin tarjeta. Okay, so in the Dominican Republic, if a person does not have an account, you can send them money via code. So I could technically send money from my bank account in the U.S. and have a person go directly to the ATM to pick it up with a code. A lot of people use that nowadays. But let's talk about let me tell you. Yes, I see you're right. So you don't need to have an account. This is with Banco Popular and Ban Reservas. I'm trying to partner with another bank so that we can do it, and I've got some ways that I want to make it better. But my point is there are so many different ways that you can use it, and that's why I talk about empathy and innovation, because the way that I program, the way that I think, I want it to be an experience that makes the user say, I really want to use this app. So right now, I have people all over that's sending money, and people are going to the ATMs. And it's kind of funny because a lot of people who pick up money have never been to an ATM. Like they never had a tarjeta, they've never had a card. And so they're going to the bank, they're going to the ATM, they're putting in their code, they're putting in their cedula, and they're getting the money, and they're like, hey, I can do it too. So we have that availability to do that. Let me move on to talk about how we're looking to do help other companies. So I'm going to make sure. Let me see. Okay, so I talked about why Jubilee, and I talked about it's tailored for business. The speed of business, not the speed of banking. But right now, if anybody has any quick questions, I can answer them before I go into it because I saw the hand being raised.
They light me up.
Okay.
So Tamiko, from the live stream. She says, how fast can it be liquidated, meaning transferred to an account that is connected to a debit card, for example?
Right. That usually happens depending on the bank, but about 3 minutes for the live stream. So what happens is, let's say if you want to take money off of your account, I'm talking to the live stream. Let's say you want to take money from your bank account in the U.S. Once you hit the buttons and you hear the, gracias or Jubilee, depending, it takes about 3 minutes, and that's the time it takes for the bank in the Dominican Republic to recognize the transfer. So I would say about 3 minutes. About 3 minutes.
Okay. Another question by her. I think we know this answer, but she's asking: Is setting up an account with Jubilee the equivalent of setting up a bank account locally in the DR, thereby gaining the ability to build credit?
No, not quite, because this is for sort of receiving the money. So you wouldn't actually set up a bank account. You would have to send it to a bank or send it to yourself. Now, you build up credit with us. I'd really appreciate it, but the bank's not quite setting up that history. But again, if you're sending it to yourself and you're taking it out at the ATM, then you have that list to show that you're sending money and picking the money up. But you would have a digital receipt of all of the transactions that you're picking up at a particular bank. So it could be Banco Popular or Banreservas.
Robert asks, is Jubilee in the App Store?
Yes, Jubilee is in the App Store and the Google Play Store. Okay. We've been there since 2021.
And Robert also asks, how can I send funds from the U.S. to my Dominican bank account?
Oh, okay. So that's really easy, depending on how you want to do it. If you have a debit card or if you want to use your bank account, you would just put that in the settings, and then we have a situation where you could go on here and it says withdraw money or send cash. So if you were to send cash, you would send it from your bank in the U.S., you would send it to your bank in the Dominican Republic. The only thing we would need, of course, is your routing number and your bank account number from your U.S. bank, and then we need your banking information from the Dominican bank here, whichever one, and the currency that it's in. It could be in dollars or pesos, and then we can go into any bank in the Dominican Republic.
So a couple questions here. As far as it's a merchant account, so can you guys take credit cards and process as a merchant account? So, for example, I have a zip line here, and let's say that someone could process to go do that activity. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. At what percentage? What's the processing of the merchant account?
Okay, so here's how that works. Let's say that you it's 1,000 pesos for the zip line.
Okay.
And this is on the other side. So it's 1,000 pesos for the zip line. The merchant receives 1,000 pesos. The payer who's paying, if they're using a credit card, it would probably be somewhere, if I'm getting my math right, 1,039.9 pesos.
So 3.9%.
Mm-hmm.
And so if, for example, if I wanted to do a transfer, for example, I've got a land deal, and they want to move, my cousin wants to move $350,000 from his account to my account. It instantly can be in my account in the Dominican Republic within three minutes.
Five minutes or so. It depends on, remember, we're making only deposits. So however fast Banreservas, who do you bank with? I mean, you probably have a few.
Yeah. Banco Popular.
Okay, Popular, Banreservas, Popular, it's very fast. BHD takes a little more time. They take maybe 10 minutes, but Popular and Reservas is almost instant. So because it's banked, it's intra.
So this is really cool. So for my account, then I can instantly take from my account that's here and dump it into someone else's account within minutes.
Yeah. It's a transfer.
This doesn't even process for me. So this could save like a month of time by doing this.
Listen,
Am I understanding this right, dude?
Right. Okay. So let me show you guys. Okay.
So what are the fees for deposits then? Right. So we're talking merchant account now from bank account to bank account. What do you charge? Right. So for me to do a transfer fee of $350,000 is $45 from the United States to the account here. What do you charge? Jubilee charge.
Jubilee. Okay. If you're going to send $350,000 from the U.S. to here,
yes.
Are you going to? If you send it directly to your from your bank account in the U.S. to here, $350,000 would probably run you about $24. But it's instant and it's no time.
So freaking sick.
Now let me show you. Let me show you guys. I'm gonna go to the end. I'm gonna skip around because what I want you all to see. I want you guys to see this right here now. I'm gonna show you now. I have to say this first. I'm showing you this information because this is a business forum, and in this business forum, I have to show you some of the things that Chase does not want me to show anybody else. Okay, so I had to say that because this is a business forum and it's being taped. All right, so you guys can kind of see this is me right here with Chase and the Development Center, just to kind of show. These are the payment methods that I can take: American Express, Discover, UnionPay, JCB, Visa, MasterCard, ChaseNet, ECP, which is very important. That's the electronic check processing, or the ACH. Pinless debit, and that's with e-commerce. Also, purchase card. Now, let me explain the purchase card for all you business owners that understand the purchase cards. Now, purchase cards level 2 and level 3, that's businesses transferring to different businesses or people using the gas cards and things like that. I'm able to process level 2 and level 3 at any rate. So if a company needed to move $2 million to another company using their corporate card, you can see right here, level 3, I can do that. Now, when we talk about security, there's a concept that's called 3D Secure. That's secure customer authentication. And what that is, if you all do transfers or do any type of online purchases. So what happens is those 8 digits go to your particular bank, and then those last 4 reach out to you, and that's why they have you put your phone number on file, because they're now going to call you and say, will you verify that you're getting ready to make this $23 purchase? When you hit that button and say yes, then it goes back and say, hey, they verified it. It's good to make this happen. The reason that's important is because of chargebacks. Having this means that we are not liable for chargebacks now. I'll tell you a quick story. Before we had this, we had a situation. We had a situation. And so, we had a situation because, see, the thing is, and what I didn't know, Dominican Republic was, it's very interesting. And you could get the money fast, and people were getting it fast, really fast. Except 3 days later, we were getting the messages that I didn't do it. So we had to close that up, and so we got that done. Also down here, if you guys can see, we also accept Apple Pay, Google Pay. So if you have Apple Pay and Google Pay, that's all integrated in the app as well. So, it's just very comprehensive. You can chat in the app. You can make phone calls, video calls. It's just everything you need to do can be done in that app. So if you want to, you can actually be on the phone, and if you have to send money, you just hit the button while you're talking to them. You hit it, they hear Jubilee, you hear Gracias, and it's done. And the reason it's Gracias because I said at some point somebody got to say thank you for all of this that I'm doing. So I just made sure I added it in. So just if you're sending it, you're gonna get thank you. So anyway, I thought we may have had a question. Yes.
Question from the live stream. Patrick asks, do you receive electronic statements in the app?
Yes, all of your transactions, we have a transaction page, and you are able to see who sent you money or who you sent money to, just like they would have in all of the other apps, Remitly, Western Union. All of your transactions are I want to say something, yes. All your transactions are in the app. But one thing that I have in the app, again, because I have experience, we don't tell people to use this a lot, but if you just happen to send money and it's an accident, or you change your mind, somebody has changed their mind before. So if you send money and you change your mind for whatever reason, if you hit the cancel button before it's been retrieved, then, we make that process a lot easier. Because again, not saying that I have ever said, I wish I had my money back. But I'm saying we make sure we do that. So that's one of the things, again, by understanding programming and understanding what the users need. Sometimes you may have made a mistake. If you send money with Cash App, it's done. It's done. That's it. So with us, you have, but again, once the person has accepted it and received it, and this is for bank transfers and something, when we go to the ATM, we call that Jubie Cash. So if they haven't received it, then you can always take it back. But if you send it to their wallet, it's on their wallet for good. So, but anyway, I think this young man had a question. I'm sorry.
Another question from the stream is, does the app report statement to the IRS?
Okay. Remember, we are a Dominican-based company that's partnered in the U.S., so we do not report to the IRS.
And there it is.
We do not report to the IRS.
All right, and that last.
You heard it here first.
Two more questions. One from Tomiko. She asks, when is your IPO?
Don't answer that.
All right. And then the last question, Robert asks, does Jubilee work with Banco Santa Cruz in the DR?
Absolutely. Yes, we work with all the banks in the Dominican Republic. Banco Santa Cruz, you can get the money fast as well. Banco Santa Cruz is definitely one of our better banks as well. We love Banco Santa Cruz. But in terms of that other question, Maria is she's the legal process on that. Honestly, I can say I think I didn't do my presentation, but I think I did it. You
got the point across.
Yes, I got the point across. But let me say this part. One of the last things I want to say is this. When we talk about leveling the playing field financially, that's what Jubilee does. And I want to make sure I mention that, because I don't know if you've been driving, maybe I know a few times I wanted to buy the fish on the side of the street. They were swimming around. I'm like, I'd buy it, but I didn't have any cash. This allows vendors, street vendors, smaller colmados that do not accept credit cards, to now be in a situation where they can accept credit cards in a sense, because our transfers for the businesses are all cash transfers. So what happens is, and I have to do it this way, for business and commercial, when a person is wanting their money, we need to be able to give it to them. So we know that we're going to get it in 2 days because the processing. So we have it, we give it because we know that it's coming in 2 days. So it's just like this cycle that we do. But for those companies that say, hey, we want to accept credit cards, but the price sometimes is very expensive. So the price of whatever they're selling goes up. Like the gentleman, this is Bart. Bart from Idaho said that Bart from Idaho said that they have the zip line. Well, if the processing fees and everything comes up to about 18%, then he's got to raise that price up so that he can make it work. But with us, or with an app like Jubilee, he's going to get the 1,000 pesos Exactly. The customer pays the 3% and everything works out. And it's a cash transaction for him because it's a transfer. So Jubilee waits for the processing. And I'm okay with it because I know once it's processed, we have verified it and it's not going to get a charge back. So we more power to you. So right now, currently, like Maria mentioned, you can pay your Eddie Northy bill. We are going to have Eddie Sewer and Eddie Esti, the water, all of, we have a lot of government agencies. And understand, we've partnered with the Dominican government, so they understand the app. I mean, there's a lot that the government wants to do in certain areas because we make things a lot easier. And to be honest with you, the fact that I do have this particular bank that's backing me for them to be able to do what they want to do, it makes things a lot easier. But that's it. That's Jubilee. It came from from my desire to make something a better app, and it's just getting better and better. And currently, again, I've just been doing this for about 2.5 years, and we just we're hitting some milestones. This month was our milestone. Thanks, Maria. That we've hit certain things, and so we're just looking to partner with businesses that are looking to transfer or needing transfer or processing, because quite frankly, we can beat pretty much anything that's out there. Again, there's no middleman. There's nobody in this area. I connect directly with Chase and I process directly. Honestly, legally, I can't share the rates. I can't share the rates legally because of the agreement that I have with them. So when I tell you that if you're a business and for processing or whether it's transfer, we can just flat out beat, whatever's out there. And again, there's no limits. There's no limits. We say that we don't put a limit on love. So, if whatever you need to do to help your family, we don't put a limit on love. So we're looking to partner, of course, with places in New York as pickup locations, because sometimes people just have cash and we want them to be able to put the cash into the system. We're working on doing that here, but everything is in steps. And so, we're looking to build the right team, looking to take our time because, I only really have one chance to do it right. Just can't rush it and get it wrong. So if we have, yes, sir. I'm sorry. There we go.
You good? Man, it's amazing what you're doing, and we out of Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, I'm out of Atlanta. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So I think we got to talk after this because I think that would be great. You mentioned New York, but I think Atlanta would be great.
Oh, absolutely.
At some of our locations in Atlanta. So we have things going on.
We process in Atlanta as well. The same machines that Chase have. Okay. I have the same, I give you you get the same machine, same technology. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah,
now what about e-commerce? Because I deal with Stripe and I deal with Zelle for my online.
Okay, good.
Would I be able to since your rates will probably be a lot better than Stripe's, would I be able to use your e-commerce?
Right. So I used to use Stripe, and I'll just be honest with you guys. I was using Stripe, but Stripe charges 2.9% plus 30 cents per transaction, and now they're going up a little bit. And so I was like, I can't make any money. So that's when I was thinking, I actually told Stripe, I said, will you guys go to the Dominican Republic because I need to go there? And they were like, and then I went to every other merchant processor, and I said, will you guys go to the Dominican Republic? Will you guys go to the Dominican Republic? And no one they didn't. So I said, let me go to the Dominican Republic. And here I am, so we're here. I think I have a gentleman in the back. No? Yes.
I was just wondering if you deal with international banks all over the world.
Well, see, I'll be honest, right now, we're just focused on building it correctly and running it right in the Dominican Republic. And then once it's here, then we can wash, rinse, and repeat. So we do have some things on the table for Latin America. We've got some things, some people wanting to help us expand in Latin America, but I needed to have it perfect here. Currently, because of Banreservas, I don't know if you all know, but Banreservas is connected to Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, El Salvador. So I call them my Fantastic Five because all those banks are connected. And in those 5 countries, they transfer $27 billion a year in remittance. The Dominican Republic transfers $15 billion a year. So this is a tremendous market to start. And so this is why I'm here, and I have a history here. I have a history here as well. So definitely, I think Bart from Idaho and this gentleman right here. Yes, sir.
So, well, first of all, great. Like I said, this morning I sent wire to the company. So you're saying though that, if I heard you right, that once I set it up, and I'm trying to, it's to verify me.
Yeah.
So if, let's say, whoever you're sending to, the bank, the company that I'm sending to, if it says Jubilee, that the one moment it says that means it has been sent, or it's still like how do you want to confirm if the other people hit it? You get this. Like to confirm that
now they have to have the app as well.
Okay, so I gotta tell them.
Right. So they have to have the app, and that way it's connected. If not, the only way that they get it is if they're going to the ATM, but you're not gonna really send it. Or here's another way. There's always a hack. If you add their bank account information,
yes, that's what I wanted to
as
know.
your bank to send to, then you'll just withdraw it to that bank, and then it's deposited directly into that bank.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So their bank account would technically be in your system. You could name it as house payment, and then when you withdraw it, it would go to that bank directly.
Great. But is it better than it sounds like to do this, to connect our U.S. bank to this, to send that? Or I thought like if we had a U.S. bank and we have a bank account in the Dominican Republic.
Yes, but if it's an institution that does not have Jubilee, then you can just not worry about them having it, add their information, and then go straight. You would just have to use your source bank as payment, your receiving bank, which would be there, and then so you would send it to yourself, but you would actually be sending it to their bank account because you had their information.
And only 2% fee. Or something like that.
3.9. Right. Yes.
It's still cheap.
So wire transfers, I'm sorry, we have Bart.
So you made a good analogy of going out and buying food on the street, right?
Yes.
So Joe, the guy making food on the side of the road. You say, hey, I want your food. Hey, I don't have this. You send him the money. When does the impuestos internos come into this to then, on the merchant, start looking for their 18%?
Okay, so remember, this is a transfer of money. It's money. So it's like, for us, my job is to send, as the merchant, I'm going to get you the 1,000 pesos. How you report that, that's your accounting and what you do. But again, let me give you a perfect example. I got some furniture, and they were like, we don't accept credit cards, but we'll do a transfer. And I just transferred them the money and got the furniture. And that was, from my standpoint, I don't know how they reported that 45,000. I just know that for me, it's just like handing them electronic cash.
It's like cryptocurrency,
right? Whether or not waiters report.
But we have the banking involved, right? It's so really it's its own situation. Yes. Do we have any more? Are we good? Okay. Hold on.
Somebody on the chat asked, do you have like online instructions?
That's a great question. Yes, we actually have finished up, and I want to say thanks to Tailor Made Dreams. He was telling me He said, "Listen, you've got to get a page that explains everything in English and Spanish." So I will give out the website, and we maybe have a few more YouTube videos to upload, but it explains every aspect of the app from starting to sending money to how to change the profile. So that will be ready by next week. Most of the videos are already uploaded, so we can put that in we can put that in. If you go to Jubielee.com later today, I'll have the help section. We also have an interactive part where you're actually clicking on the screen to see what happens. So later today, you can go to that, and we'll make sure that that's activated so they can go online to see that. But we do have the help files to do all of that, and you can call us direct in Spanish or English. So we do have people that answer the phone that help you through it. So we're live.
How long does it take for the account to be verified?
Well, so what happens is right now, it could take between 5 and 10 minutes, depending. And this is the AML, anti-money laundering and all of that. So it goes through the system. And again, once we check to make sure that you're not on the blacklist, you're not on the anti-money laundering, you're not in something that they call a person, PEP, I forget my acronyms, but it's a person, some political exempt person's list. And so once it goes through and checks all of that, right? So once it goes through and checks everything, again, we use a company called SumSub, SumSub.com. So you get a chance to see that they are a top worldwide identity. Know your customer. There is something new called Know Your Company, because they verify companies as well. But if you register on our site as a company, then we will verify that through your RNC, and by registering as a company, then you get an automatic payment page, like what Mr. Bart said. You would actually get a payment page that comes with it, that you can send that link out for people who do not have the app. Because a lot of times people say, well, what if they don't have the app? I said, no, we'll just give you a page. If I had the internet, I would show you. But, so I whatever is out there that's a negative, I say, okay. And then I try to, fix it. So it's definitely great. Just give it a little time, though. You will definitely be verified if you are who you say you are. So I just make sure you say that. Yes. And I know it's 6. Okay, I'm sorry.
Just one more.
Okay, yes, I'm sorry, sir.
On the e-commerce side, how will we be able to use your system? So
right now, what you use in a shopping cart, we would take the same situation and we would take out the Stripe guts, and we put our situation in, and it's going to be it's called the SDK, software development kit. Okay. And so what happens, we'll install our Chase software development kit, and people won't know the difference. Okay. People will never know the difference. They just click. They don't know what's processing in the background. Right. But we would do that, and then it would be directed right here on your Jubilee, and you would hear it as soon as somebody pays online. It comes right to your phone, Jubilee, and you just got paid.
So how do I hook? Do I have to my web developer? Web developer would have to.
We could do that in less than a day.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Do I got to get information, or how does that work?
No. What we'll do is once we meet, after this, then I'll get the information, and we can have that done by the night. That doesn't take long at all. Young man, right? Young man.
I was looking at the app, and when you're setting up an account, it says personal or business. Is there any reasons or downside? I mean,
yes.
If you want to do it as a personal account or a business account, besides your own record keeping, what would be the difference? Right.
So that's a great question. So here's the deal: if you set it up as personal, then you're just going to get the app. You're going to give your personal information. It's going to be tied to you. You're going to get verified through SumSub, and once you're verified, that money's going to go to you. It's your deal. When you sign up as a business, then this is for people who want to charge other people. So you can be a personal individual, but you could work for, let's say you drive a taxi. And so what you want to be able to charge people. So you would send them a link. They click on the link and the name of your business is up there, payment page. They can pay in Dominican pesos or dollars. They hit the button and that money goes right to your app. So as a business, you're able to have that link. And the verification process is a little different. Yeah, to receive, I'm sorry, yes. Okay, yes. Okay, Maria, I think yes.
Tell me I didn't change the